Russia number one, Iran number one, USA at
Hey folks, it's BC here. Just wanted to touch on the loss of another wrestling legend today. The Iron Sheik has passed away at the age of 81. And for anybody who's following this channel, you're probably a child of the 80s or the late 70s and grew up in the 80s. The Iron Sheik was a fixture as far as the wrestling scene in the 80s. And it was somebody that I myself think of when I think of my own wrestling enjoyment experience. When I first started to watch WWF wrestling, it would have been in late 85, early 86. And at that point, the Iron Sheik was all over the TV screen. He was one of those notorious foreign heels. Yet you couldn't help but like him because he was almost comical in his delivery with things. But for me at that time, it would have been the Sheik and Volkov as a tag team, and they would have been terrorizing the tag team division. I think when I first locked on to WWF, they might have even been the tag team champions at that point. Um, One of my first Saturday night main event memories was the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov against the British Bulldogs. It was when the Bulldogs had first won their tag team titles, and they had their first title defense was against them. Rock and Wrestling, Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling. I think of the Iron Sheik in Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling, and there he was. For all you Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling fans, of course, the Iron Sheik had a fantastic run there. Dominant heel at that time. It just even to this day, to the day of his death, he kept himself relevant with his insane Twitter account with some of the tweets that he had. Obviously, his hatred for Hulk Hogan. I don't know to this day. I don't know if we'll ever find out if that was a work or a shoot or what's going on. But the Sheik shouldn't be forgotten for the fact that he played an important part in the rise of Hulkamania. He's the man that took the WWF World Heavyweight title off of Bob Backlund back in 1983, December of 1983. I mean, Backlund had a stranglehold on that title for 4 or 5 years at this point. And although, yeah, the Sheik was a transitional champion, he's still one of the very few men that have held the WWF World Heavyweight Championship. And as the story goes, if he had wanted to, if he had been greedy and taken some money from Vern Gagne, he could have broke Hulk Hogan's leg in that ring and walked back to the AWA with the WWF Championship in tow. So he would have been the first Medusa, I guess, in that scenario. But the Sheik was an honorable man. He decided to do the right thing, pass the torch along to Hogan, and what do we got from there? Just the absolute explosion of the wrestling industry. The Sheik, just so notable for so many things: his thick Iranian accent, his Iran number one, his spitting on the USA, his pointed toe boots that were infamous. A couple other wrestlers, of course, have worn those over years. I think of Abdullah the Butcher or Arman Hussein. And modern day, you can think of Xavier Woods. But just the amount of heat that man got in the 80s, just promoting Iran and the Ayatollah Khomeini and all this stuff, and just he wasn't afraid of the heat either. He had those crazy pants that he had, the half pants or the knickers or whatever the heck you want to call them. That's what I remember when I first got my LGN wrestling buddy with the Iron Sheik, having those crazy pants that he had on, and just different things like that. But a true classic wrestling heel who in real life was a badass. I mean, he was I think he was a bodyguard for the leader of Iran. He was an Olympic wrestler, just a legit shooter, a legit badass, and just an all-around crazy character that we don't have enough of these days in wrestling, and a great contributor to the wrestling industry as a whole. So, on behalf of Wrestling with the 80s, I just want to say to the Iron Sheik, first of all, thank you very much for the memories that you provided over the years. Thanks for kind of scaring the crap out of me as a kid, as a bad guy. And just rest in peace, Iron Sheik. And thank you very much for all those great memories. I'd love for you viewers, if you want to comment in the comment section below. Let us know your favorite memories of the Iron Sheik. What do you remember? Like, was it his world title run? Was it his boot camp match and feud with Sergeant Slaughter? Was it his run in the Mid Atlantic territory, or was it something else? Was it Colonel Mustafa? Was it his win in the gimmick battle royal for WrestleMania 17? It could be many things, but let us know down in the comments section. And if you want to do yourself a favor, if you want to look at an old school match, why don't you go look up the boot camp match that he and Sergeant Slaughter had back in 1984? It's a classic, just a classic feud. Good guy versus bad guy, USA versus Iran. Slaughter, one of the hottest baby faces at the time. Sheik coming off of his world championship win and one of the hottest heels at the time, and just blood, violence, and just animosity and fans going crazy. Check it out. Watch that match. It's a fantastic match. Anyways, folks, thank you for your time, and leave your comments down below about memories of the Sheik. Rest in peace, Iron Sheik.